Today we will be presenting our American Express user analysis. Our project focused on identifying the key drivers of customer attrition, also known as customer churn, and determining what American Express can do to improve customer retention. Using Tableau visualizations and regression analysis, we analyzed customer behavior, engagement, and demographic trends to better understand why customers leave the company. Here is our team. Each member contributed to different parts of the project, including Tableau visualization, statistical analysis, regression modeling, and presentation development. Today, we'll begin with an overview of the project and dataset. Then we'll walk through our Tableau data exploration and visual findings, discuss our regression analysis, review the statistical reliability tests, and finish with recommendations and conclusions. We analyzed a dataset containing 9,739 American Express users. Our goal was to identify the demographic and financial drivers of customer churn. To do this, we used both Tableau dashboards and multivariate regression modeling to determine which variables significantly impacted attrition probability. One of our most important findings was that high-income customers, especially those in the $120,000 plus income bracket, showed some of the highest attrition rates despite being valuable customers financially. This suggested that low engagement and weak product stickiness were major contributors to churn. In the data exploration phase, we analyzed demographics, spending behavior, account activity, and overall customer engagement trends. The dashboards helped us identify patterns that were not immediately obvious in the raw data. For example, we discovered that attrition was not evenly distributed across customer groups. Certain customer segments showed much higher churn intensity than others. This helped guide the variables we later used in our regression model. Now, looking at the heat map that we made through Tableau, what stood out the most from this was how concentrated attrition risk became within certain customer groups rather than being evenly distributed across all customers. The heat map compares gender and income category to show where attrition risk is the highest. The darker red areas represent higher churn intensity over here, while the lighter areas represent lower attrition risk over here. As you can see here, the largest red zones appears among male customers within the unknown income category. This group showed the highest statistical likelihood of attrition in our Tableau dashboard. We also identified that customers in the $120,000 plus income bracket experience especially high attrition rates. Even though these are high-value customers financially, many showed lower engagement levels and weaker relationships with the bank. Another important takeaway from this is that customer attrition is not random. Specific demographic and behavioral groups are significantly more likely to leave than others, as mentioned above. This insight allows Amex to move toward more targeted retention strategies. Our final regression model included variables such as transaction count, utilization ratio, months inactive, contacts count, and total relationship count. The final model achieved an R-squared value of 37.09%, which shows that we are 37.09% of the way toward perfectly predicting attrited customers using this model. Our standard error interpretation predicted we are off by an average of 29.175%. As transaction count increased, the probability of attrition decreased. Meanwhile, each additional month inactive significantly increased the probability of churn. We also found that customers with higher utilization ratio and stronger relationships with the bank were less likely to leave. We analyzed residual plots to check for nonlinear patterns and heteroscedasticity. Most of the residual plots appeared random, which suggests the model was generally reliable. Next, we checked for multicollinearity. This occurs when independent variables are too closely related to one another, which can make regression results unreliable because the model struggles to separate the effects of each variable. Since none of the correlations between our independent variables exceeded the threshold of concern, we concluded multicollinearity was not an issue. We also tested for endogeneity. Overall, the test supported viability of our regression model. We also identified several behavioral red flags. Months inactive in the last 12 months and customer service contact frequency were both strong predictors of attrition. In other words, customers who stop using their cards or frequently contact support are much more likely to leave. Another important finding came from our Tableau analysis, where we identified a high-risk red zone among male customers within the unknown income category. First, we recommend increasing product stickiness for high-income customers. Since many high earners showed low engagement levels, Amex should encourage them to open additional accounts or use more financial products. We then recommend targeting the high-risk red zone customers identified in our Tableau dashboard. Third, we recommend implementing early warning retention strategies for inactive users. Because inactivity was one of the strongest predictors of churn, Amex should proactively reach out to customers as soon as their account activity begins declining. In conclusion, our analysis showed that customer attrition at American Express is driven primarily by behavioral engagement rather than demographics alone. Variables such as transaction count, utilization ratio, and inactivity were among the strongest predictors of customer loyalty. By focusing on proactive engagement strategies and identifying high-risk customer segments early, American Express can reduce churn and improve long-term customer retention. Thank you, and please feel free to contact us with any questions.